with the sun shining and the wind blowing, it's another beautiful day at Earlsdale Retreat. That is, until you look at the green swamp that is a pool. So we need to do something about that to make it look a little more in keeping with the surroundings. And that's what this video is about, removing all the duckweed without spending a fortune on expensive booms. My first attempt was trying to replicate a boom. Having made the boom, I was excited to try it out. How successful would it be? Transporting it proved to be difficult because of the sheer size, so I started with a shorter 10-metre boom, having made two, the short boom and a very long 20-metre boom. Already, you can see how the duckweed is scooped up by the boom. However, the smallest obstacle, in this case the outflow grid, prevents all of the weed from being collected. You can see just how much is left behind, although the wind is now able to move the weed and it is drifting now that it's thinned out. Hopefully the light breeze will become a strong wind and it will all drift into a corner where it can be collected. Although there is something relaxing about watching it slowly move across the water. We sent the boom out for another pass. Notice how the thin rope is also drawing in the duckweed. It's moving almost as much as the boom. The second pass cleared even more weed, and already you can see clear patches starting to form rather than it looking like you could walk across the water. By drawing the duckweed into a corner, we can easily remove the weed with nets, albeit a very slow and repetitive process. This took several weeks to completely remove all of the weed. The weight of the net plus the weed makes it a back-breaking, tiresome job. The duckweed will be full of phosphate and should make fantastic compost or mulch. So that you don't have to sit here bored whilst I remove several tons of sloppy duckweed, let's speed up the video. So, what are my conclusions? Do I think the homemade weed boom was a success? No, not entirely. It does move some weed to where it can be easily removed and close to a compost bin that will feature in a future video. But it would be impossible to use the boom on my own. It proved to be difficult, even with help, and it probably took somewhere in the region of 30 to 40 minutes for each pass. However, it did significantly thin out the weed in just a few passes, and you can see how the wind is now able to move the top surface of the water, helping to aerate the pool. So, back to the drawing board. Seeing how well the thin rope moved the duckweed, I thought a really thick rope might be even better, whilst easier to use and store. This was instantly more successful, much easier to manoeuvre and far longer. I was able to send this out on my own whilst collecting a lot more weed in each pass. And now I can really see a ripple on the surface. So clearing the weed is definitely going to help aerate and oxygenate the water. The rope has to be pulled slowly to capture all of the weed, but it is far easier than the boom, which, made from a roll of damp-proof course, was incredibly heavy to draw in. Although much better at clearing obstacles in the water, you can see how the outflow grid made the rope slide under or over the duckweed, leaving some behind. Let's have a closer look. See how the duckweed is riding over the rope in places, and in others the rope is riding over the duckweed. What I needed was something to snag the weed, so I thought I'd try cable ties. I slid 3 cable ties through the centre of the rope in opposing directions and repeated this every foot or so along the length of the rope. The idea being the cable ties would catch against the weed and prevent any from being left behind. Once secured, I created loops from the ends, creating a tricorn effect that will be above and below the waterline. This improved the rope boom even more, but made it difficult to store without the rope and cable ties ending up in a tangle. However, it did the job I wanted, and one of the pools is now clear, and the wind and sun can penetrate deep into the water, helping to aerate the pools and hopefully increase dissolved oxygen levels.